Hi everyone, it's Sonia here. I want to go over some of the footage of what happened at the Capitol on the 6th of January. The situation was very strange, and there are a lot of people who have a lot of theories about what happened and who was behind it. I want to show you some footage of a few things that I thought were very strange, and we'll go over it together and you let me know what you think. So first of all, here's some footage from Twitter. Let's look at some footage of people getting access to the Capitol building. And keep in mind that people haven't had access to the Capitol buildings for 9 months because of COVID. The public hasn't been allowed to go in there. Okay, so here's a piece of footage I found on Twitter from Elijah Schaffer. So here are the people walking up to the barricades. And you're going to see, it is kind of odd how things go down once they get there. So, okay, they're all up at the barricades, they're shouting. There aren't a lot of police officers there. I don't know, are they police or are they security? I'm assuming that they're police. There are just a few of them. They look kind of like, oh, come on, give us a break. No, you can't come in. They start shaking the barricades. I mean, really, there's just not that many cops there. Notice the one on the right is a woman. You're gonna see that she comes into play. What is this guy saying into this guy's ear? I don't know. Okay, now watch this. Watch what happens. See, there's the woman cop on the right side. She's kind of small, right? And as they knock this over, you hear what they're saying there. Oh no, oh hey. And they go and look. There's a brawl there. They're picking her up. Now, I have never seen that happen at a protest, where protesters clash with the police, and then when the police get knocked over, they go and help them up. I mean, I don't know, maybe it happens, maybe it's because she's a woman. Anyway, here's the brawl with the cops. That's why I'm wondering, are they security guards? Because, like, nobody has pepper spray. But anyway, it wasn't that hard for them to get past those cops. Oh yes, if you like what I do, please consider donating to me on Patreon. Whenever I upload, you do get notified, as opposed to on YouTube, where you probably don't. And you help keep my channel going. Here's the next piece of footage, which you may have seen. They're right up near the building. They're the police, and they basically open it up for the protesters. Somebody's waving them in. The cops walking away. I mean, it looks like the cops very well know where these people are going, and they're not stopping it. So here's another view of what happens, I guess, right after that. Everyone's filing into the building. There's absolutely no one there to stop them. I'm going to show you one more, and then we'll talk about what this all means. This is in another location. In this case, you literally see the cop running towards the barricade and then waving people in, like, come on in, come on in. So for people who are saying that the cops did not open barricades or wave people in, I mean, look, I wasn't there, but the footage seems to say otherwise. Here's one more. Again, another view, another entrance. I noticed the police are all way in the back, sort of standing in line, clearly hanging back, not interfering. Okay, so here's the crowd. No one's stopping them. Doors unlocked. And once they get inside, yeah, they can pretty much just go right in. Oh, wait. The police are inside, apparently, but they're standing against the walls and just being like, yeah, well, hey, we don't agree with it, but, you know, what can you do? I mean, they're just walking right in, walking right upstairs. And it's weird, that guy going up the stairs there with his hand on someone's back, he looks like he could be a cop. I don't know. You let me know what you think. You know why I think he's a cop? I don't know what that yellow thing is on his, the back of his backpacker's jacket, but it's just his build, you know, whatever he is, he's very fit. To me, it seems like he could be a cop or security. So yeah, outside, nobody's stopping them. So here's what happens once they get in. Lone security guard. Again, not a whole lot of reinforcements. He's gonna try to ward them off with a stick. Here they come. He has to run for his life. I'm pretty sure the person filming is another security guard. Meanwhile, out in the front of the building, there are some people who are trying to break in. I think this is where they broke the window. And there are people in the crowd who are shouting no Antifa, but you know, there's no evidence that it was Antifa. I know some of you are going to say, oh, it had to be. But there are other people on the scene who are saying they really don't think that's what that was. Anyhow, most of the crowd is not supportive of this. They're booing, they're shouting no. But there's like this little subgroup that is ready to bust in. But as you saw, they came in by many entrances, not just this window. Anyhow, as you see, lots of police were around and really not doing much. And then if people still want to say that they couldn't help it, they were overwhelmed, they didn't see it coming, or whatever, I don't know how you explain police taking selfies with protesters amid the break-in at Capitol Hill. There's definitely that side to the police presence, but there's another side. And this is one that really people aren't talking about. This is what's weird. This footage of people coming in and you know, videos such as the one I put up questioning like, why aren't the cops stopping it? This has been up a lot, and people have reacted often by saying, well, it's because they're white, which made me feel kind of weird about it, because just because you're white doesn't mean you don't have to obey the law. It just means you're less likely to be suspected of breaking the law when you're not. But yeah, it kind of fueled that whole, oh, well, look what happens when white people do it. You know, when BLM was there, they were out in full force, but look, these people are white, so they put up no security. I just don't buy that. And actually, there's a whole other side to the story about what happened with the cops. This is the stuff people aren't talking about. This is the stuff the media is not talking about. I hope I don't get in trouble for talking about it. I'm going to just point your attention to this video, which was on Facebook. It's from the Conscious Resistance Network. And it's Derek Bros interviewing Danny Quest, a freelance journalist and contributor to Conscious Resistance, to the Conscious Resistance. So this guy, Danny Quest, was on the scene documenting everything. And what he said and showed in his videos, he shows in the front, the part where we saw that they broke in, they broke the window. He said it was like this one group of, I don't want to use the word extreme, but like die hard or whatever, people who were trying to bust in through that entrance. And he said the cops were throwing tear gas and there was a clash there. That's where the police pushback did start. There was all kinds of tear gas and yeah, clashes with the police. And later on in this same interview, he says that what happened was, although you see them going in and there's not much happening inside, they're not encountering much resistance from the police inside, but sort of behind the scenes, stuff that didn't end up like on the front page or whatever, getting a lot of publicity, was the police then pushing back the protesters outside. So he was saying that the police did push back, and actually quite aggressively. And he said that, you know, as you know, a lot of the protesters, well, this has been reported in the media, were actually quite a bit older. The average age was like 40 something. There were some people from an older generation there, older Republicans. And so you basically had a lot of kind of middle-aged and up people, plus disabled people outside. They're not the ones who were busting in, but they're the ones that the police were pushing back with a lot of force. And this guy, what was his name, Danny Quest, was saying that what he was seeing was those people were getting tear gas, those people were getting clubbed, and they were getting stomped on. That's what he said. He said it was very upsetting for him to see this.
Go back right where you're at. Yeah. This guy, just 2 seconds. Yeah, this is a Trump supporter who was on the front grounds going into the he tells this story right here, going into the Capitol building. He got shot with the beanbag right in the stomach, had a big welt. And I mean, this guy right here, does he look like a fucking Antifa guy to you? Like, he's on the front lines trying to break into, like, he's who you're saying is being paid. This guy, you think this guy is being paid to protagonist? No, he's just taking part of whatever that group think mentality is. It's led on by people like Jake Angeli.
So just to let you know, it's not like the police weren't doing anything, but it seemed like they were acting very differently in some situations than in others. And then it was the ones where they opened the door that got on the news. That makes me very suspicious. I mean, nobody's talking about old people getting stomped outside. Anyway, so what did these protesters actually bust in on? Well, the media is reporting that this was the meeting in the Senate where they were going to certify Biden for the election, but it wasn't only that. It was also a meeting where senators were voicing the objections that they actually had to certifying Biden at this time. There were actually senators who had concerns about the election and who were proposing different solutions. And that's what they were doing when the protesters busted in. So that's kind of weird, because if these people think that Trump should be president and they have trouble with the electoral outcome, how ironic that they would interfere and put a halt to a hearing where the senators are being recorded on C-SPAN, voicing their concerns and objections concerning the election. That is very weird. I'll just play you some of this footage. Senator James Langford, and he's talking about
that we not ignore the questions that millions of people are asking in our nation. So we have proposed a constitutional solution. Pause the count. Get more facts to the states before January the 20th. We proposed a 15-member commission, just like what was done after the failed election of 1876. We're encouraging people to spend 10 days going through all the issues so states can have one last opportunity to address any challenges. Then the states, as the Constitution directs, would make the final decision on their electors. I have some colleagues who have said that a 10-day commission is not enough time, so they have counter-proposed, just ignoring the lingering questions. We need to do something. My challenge today is not about the good people of Arizona.
And it will stand in recess
interesting.
until the call of
They
the
were actually
chair.
proposing alternative ways of dealing with what's happening right now.
Thank you.
I mean, isn't that also part of democracy?
The House will be in order. Okay.
Okay, so something's going on here. So this is when they go into recess, and then it later turns out this is when the protesters have breached
The House will be in order.
the inside of the building, and they're making
be
their
in
way
order.
to this room. Yeah, people are starting to leave. It's starting to get kind of, serious.
Without objection, the chair declares the House in
And,
recess pursuant to Clause 12B of Rule 1.
And then the camera will switch angles. Oops.
The House.
Yeah, and so then the camera will switch angles, and you're going to see the hall where the protesters are coming in. And they're all staying within the ropes. So polite, you'd think they were Canadians. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's kind of weird. They're not exactly like rampaging. They're walking through the ropes. Anyhow. So yeah, that's what got interrupted. I thought that was interesting. Also, I thought it was interesting that you see the police behaving one way on the footage that gets a lot of attention, and then the footage where they were being, I don't want to use the word brutal, but that footage anyway didn't really get any attention. I wouldn't have known it if I hadn't listened to that interview, which I just happened to stumble across on Facebook. Who knew? North. So here's another weird thing. This was in the New York Post. Alex Jones claims he funded the rally that led to Capitol chaos. So it turns out Alex Jones, he didn't exactly fund it. I mean, he didn't fund it out of his own pocket. But he put up nearly $500,000 to mount to President Trump's disastrous speech Wednesday in Washington, and was asked by the White House to lead the subsequent march that devolved into a riotous siege of Capitol Hill. Huh, interesting. So he says a donor came forward with all that money that was needed. Jones did not name the anonymous benefactor, but he did shed light on an initial plan to have the Secret Service escort Jones through the gathered Trump supporters so he could head a procession to the Capitol. Huh. Wasn't it the Secret Service who ended up shooting Ashley Babbitt? Oh, well, it's kind of weird. Secret Service was going to escort him. The White House told me 3 days before, we're going to have you lead the march. And Trump will tell people, go, and I'm going to meet you at the Capitol. But there was 1 million people outside. So by the time I got there, there were already hundreds of thousands of people ahead of me marching. So turned out they didn't need Alex Jones. Kind of weird though, eh? Like an anonymous benefactor gave all this money to Alex Jones to give to the event so they could do this. And the White House and Secret Service told him that he would be escorted through to march on the Capitol. Like they were going to have him lead this whole thing. Well, it turns out they didn't need Alex Jones because Jake Angeli, QAnon shaman, took it upon himself to be the leader after all. So, well, there's another guy who has an interesting story. He posted this on Twitter.
I just left the protest.
And he says that he was hired to go to the march and to pretend to protest. I don't think they really needed to hire people because there were lots of people who would willingly go. But I think he's saying that he was hired to go inside. So what does this mean?
That I was paid to do. And I'm making this video because I want to confess that I was paid to pretend to protest today.
I mean, who hired them? I'm not saying it was Antifa, right? It could have been whoever, Alex Jones, Trump, some other group. We don't know. Anyway, it's pretty clear that the whole thing wasn't fake. There were a lot of people there that were legit Trump supporters. Ashley Babbitt had put up a stream herself.
And it was amazing. We could see the president talk. We are now walking down the inaugural path to the Capitol building. 3 million plus people. God bless America, patriots.
And I mean, it's pretty clear that she believed in what she was doing. The guy with the horns, Jake Angeli, also well-known, long-time Trumper, QAnon supporter, seems pretty convinced about what he talks about. And he's been doing this for a long time. So I don't buy that thing that they're all just actors. But what's really weird is the strange mix of people who were in there. There were cops who stormed the Capitol. There were lawmakers, senators, congressmen, all kinds of people. A CEO of a company who later said he regretted what he did. I'm sure you've seen the pictures of the Proud Boys and the white supremacists. But there was also this guy, Aaron, what's his name? A Jewish guy, the son of a prominent Brooklyn judge. And there's an interview with him that's on the New York Post. So, I mean, that is something I have not seen before. People with highly offensive anti-Semitic shirts marching, storming next to Orthodox Jewish people. It's weird. Aaron Mostowski. I wonder how his dad feels about this. I have a feeling it's not too good. And, you know, Jewish families can have black sheep too. So I don't think he's an actor. I mean, I think this is true. Like, these are real people. Really feel this way. I don't think that they're all just faking it. Because there are some real consequences for them. They're not that severe, but there are definitely consequences. So yeah, here's the thing. Was this a coup? People are saying it's a coup, and they're not in agreement on who did the coup. You know, which side was it? It's very confusing. I don't think that it could be something that you could call a coup from the Trump side. Let's say if the Trump administration was behind this and did this to try to delay Biden getting certified or elected, try to keep themselves, like, take power by force. I don't think it's possible that that's what the intention of this was. Because if you go and look at how coups are done, they're not like this. You don't send the emissaries of 8 Kun to go in with costumes, regalia, sit down and put their feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk and steal some of her stuff. This is not what happens when a real coup takes place. A real coup is highly organized. It usually involves military, and they actually take control of things. They don't just go in there and like, this was like almost like a rave, you know, they just went in there and went a bit nuts. There was a guy smoking pot in the rotunda. You don't smoke pot in the rotunda when you're doing a real coup. So I don't know what it was, but it wasn't a coup. Go and look at what happens when coups take place. It's not like this. It's very serious. They take control of the government. They take control of the media. They usually will capture the existing politicians. They'll either, you know, murder them or banish them or put them in jail. They'll literally take power by force. That's a coup. Again, I don't know what this was. Chaotic. Just really strange. But I don't think it was a coup. I mean, officially, that is the story, that it was the Trump administration that set this up, right? That's not a conspiracy theory. But the way it played out, like the part of people going in on the Capitol, the fact that Alex Jones says somebody gave him money to give them money to do this, and then was going to have Secret Service escort him to lead this march. That would say that it was the Trump people who not only set up this event, but also the storming of the Capitol, which, like I said, turns out they didn't need Alex Jones. Bust in on those hearings where the senators are discussing objections. That's very strange. And it's not a coup. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's not a coup, but then this is what it leads to. So many people being banned from Twitter, from Facebook. Trump kicked off. Lynn Wood, the lawyer, also. Lots of people within the Republican Party banned from all social media. Yeah, lots of Republicans totally banned from social media and don't think you can just move to Parler, because as soon as this happened, also Parler kicked off the Apple Store, Google Play. Can't even get in there anymore. They were told you have to monitor content or, you know, you can't operate anymore. And like, it's not just people in the party who are getting kicked out. So many people are. Just for saying anything. So who benefited from this? In the end, I think that this is very much in line with what would be desirable in the Great Reset, which would be total control. I mean, look, I don't know, but it's like either people within the Republican Party did this knowing that it would have a backlash, or maybe even Trump was in on it. It's a terrible thought. I mean, imagine how sickening. The person that you think is going to save you from like a communist social credit system ends up being a traitor. But it might not have been Trump. It could have been someone very close to him. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you too much about what I think this all means. I'll let you figure it out. Let me know in your comments. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Certainly it's very weird. I have a bad feeling about this. Somebody said you shouldn't have bad feelings. It makes bad things happen. It doesn't work like that. Those bad feelings, those are my intuition. I've been on here for so long, and you guys who've been with me for a long time, you know, there were certain things I did talk about. And then for a while, it was a lot of fluff. You know why? Because there was nothing that was really serious that I really believed needed to be talked about. I mean, I talked about some things, but a lot of the like theories and the trends that went around, I wasn't on board. I thought it was all psyops, so I was quiet. This, however, is very different. This is a lot like what happened, 10 years ago. Very, very serious. I feel it. It's like a real turning point. So, still hoping there'd be some kind of good outcome down the road, but I'm going to be watching all this very closely. Anyway, oh yeah, I wanted to let you know before I go, if you have not stocked up on supplies, don't wait. And if you're looking for supplies, here's what I would recommend. My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply are the go-to experts in emergency preparedness. Right now, you can save up to $100 off a 4-week supply of their delicious and nutritious food that lasts up to 25 years. But you might need it as soon as next month if things continue to get worse. Don't let yourself get caught unprepared. Not when you can get a 4-week supply of emergency food shipped right to your doorstep. Go to preparewithtruthergirls.com right now. That's preparewithtruthergirls.com. Yes, you can still get a discount if you use the code, the coupon below, the link. So check it out, please. So that's it. Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot for joining me. God bless you guys, and I'll see you next time.